Have you ever looked into your dog's eyes and felt like he knows exactly what you're feeling? Have you ever had the impression that he appeared in your life at the exact moment when you most needed love, company, or simply silence and presence? There are people who say that dogs are just pets. But is it really? Or are they angels in disguise, sent to teach us about pure love, true loyalty, and joy in simple things? Today, you will see exciting signs that can change the way you see your four-legged companion. And I want to make you a special invitation. Write the name of your dog here in the comments. And tell me, what was the most memorable moment you have ever lived together? And if you feel that animals have a beautiful mission in this world, you can also comment, I believe that dogs are angels. We will fill this space with stories, names, and a lot of love for these incredible beings who illuminate our journey. There is something in a dog's eyes that touches us without explanation. A look that calms us, that understands us, that embraces us even without arms. When we are sad, they come closer. When we are joyful, they celebrate with us. But the most impressive thing is that they seem to perceive these emotions even before any gesture, as if they feel what goes beyond words. Can dogs really pick up on the energy around us? This question, which for years was treated as something mystical, today arouses the interest of science. Researchers have studied the behavior of dogs and the way they react to the emotional state of their owners. And what is perceived as surprising, they not only accompany our emotions, but absorb them. They mirror the environment where they live, reacting intensely to the vibrations that circulate through the air. If you live with a dog, you may have noticed how it changes its behavior at different times. When there are fights, tension, or sadness at home, he may become restless, crestfallen, or even get sick. On the other hand, in quiet and affectionate environments, they flourish. They play more, sleep serenely, and convey an almost magical lightness. This is no coincidence. It is pure sensitivity. They absorb the climate of the environment as if they were part of it, as if they were living mirrors of what we feel and vibrate inside the house. This emotional response from dogs is silent, but intense. A simple, harsher look, a slamming door, a heated speech. All of this reverberates in them. Not because they understand exactly what is being said, but because they perceive the invisible weight of tension. And the most impressive thing is that even when they feel uncomfortable, they do not abandon us. They get closer. They try in their own way to lighten the atmosphere. A discreet lying at our feet, a shy licking, a long look. It's as if they're saying, I'm here and I want you to be okay. On the other hand, when the house is filled with laughter, soft conversations, moments of true connection, dogs also change. They run more, lie on their backs, take deep breaths as if they feel they are safe. It is in this type of environment that they show all their brilliance. They are light, spontaneous, and full of love. And this reflection teaches us something precious: that the way we live directly influences their well-being. That our emotional state is not isolated. He touches those around us, even without words. This intimate and silent connection that dogs maintain with the space around them is a delicate way to show us what needs care. If your dog is sad, quiet, or too agitated, it may not be the only dog feeling something. Perhaps he is reflecting what is out of place in the environment. And when we look at this with more attention and affection, we realize that taking care of the energy in our home is also taking care of those we love. Because at the end of the day, dogs only want the purest thing: peace, presence, and shared love. Dogs have highly developed senses. They pick up sounds, smells, and expressions with a precision far superior to that of humans. But beyond that, there is something more subtle. a kind of emotional radar that allows them to recognize variations in our tone of voice, in our breathing, in our posture. Even without understanding our words, they perceive what is happening inside us. Science calls this interspecies empathy, a difficult name for something that, in practice, is very simple. Love. A love that manifests itself in care, in silent presence, in an attentive look. A love that understands without judging, that remains even on the days when we can't smile. And perhaps this is one of the greatest beauties of the relationship between humans and dogs. The ability to connect without words. There are touching reports of people living with anxiety disorders or depression who have found in their dog a true safe haven. In moments of crisis, the dog lies nearby, licks the owner's hand, sighs together. It's as if to say, "I'm with you, and it will pass." This kind of behavior isn't learned, it's instinctive. It comes from a pure place where presence is worth more than any explanation. Dogs don't understand what an emotional crisis is, but they feel the change in our body, in our vibration, in our silence. And in the face of this, they do what they know best. They love without conditions. For many, the simple fact of knowing that the dog is there, within reach of touch, already brings almost immediate relief. In the midst of emptiness and anguish, that furry, warm, and serene body conveys security. He doesn't try to solve it. He doesn't try to explain it. He just stays. And this staying is an act of deep love. It is the kind of presence that does not demand, does not question. It only welcomes. Some say that in dark moments, it was the dog that prevented the worst, that he was the one who gave him reason to get out of bed, who gave meaning back to the small routines of the day. This silent bond transforms the dog into something greater than a companion. He becomes a caretaker of the soul, an invisible guardian who remains by his side even when everything seems to fall apart. There is beauty in this kind of love because it does not depend on words. It is born of feeling. And feeling, by the way, is something that dogs do with mastery. They don't let themselves be distracted by judgments or appearances. For them, it doesn't matter if you're strong or in pieces. What matters is to be with you. And this silent fidelity heals wounds that sometimes no one else sees. Science can call it animal empathy or the response to emotional bonding. But those who experience this on a daily basis know that it is more than a biological phenomenon. It's a miracle in the form of a wagging tail. It is a joint sigh in the midst of the storm. It's a look that finds you even when you can't look at yourself in the mirror anymore. Dogs are, for many, the thread that keeps life sewn together on the most fragile days. And in that loving silence, they go on to say, "You're not alone. I'm here, and I'll be until everything blooms again." In hospitals and clinics, therapy dogs are used to support patients in recovery. The simple fact of petting a dog can lower stress levels and increase the feeling of well-being. The presence of an animal in tense environments modifies the energy of the space, making it more welcoming. This is science. But it is also affection. And it's amazing how these two things meet when we talk about dogs. There are also curious cases of dogs that warned about diseases even before the medical diagnosis. Dogs that insisted on smelling a certain part of the owner's body, and which was later discovered to be cancer. Dogs that have sensed seizures or fainting and acted to protect the person. This raises a powerful question. How far does this sensitivity go? Do they perceive what our own senses cannot grasp? It is as if they have access to a dimension of perception that we are still trying to understand. And the most impressive thing is that even without knowing what they are facing, they act. They care. They protect. Some reports tell of dogs waking up their owners moments before a cardiac arrest or barking insistently when a problem was about to happen. And even when everything seemed normal to human eyes, the dog already knew something was wrong. This invites us to reflect. What exactly are they picking up? Would it be the smell of chemical changes in the body? Or something more subtle, such as changes in energetic vibration? Science, little by little, is looking for explanations. But the heart already feels that there is something special in this. Something that is not taught, that is not trained, that is simply born with them. In hospitals, there are already dogs trained to detect diseases such as cancer, epilepsy, and even diabetes. But there are also dogs that have never been trained, and yet demonstrate impressive behaviors. They don't understand the name of the disease, but they understand that something there needs attention. And with their pure sensitivity, they approach, warn, try to help. This reveals a different kind of intelligence, an intelligence that is not linked to reasoning, but to feeling. A silent, ancestral knowledge that connects them to life in a way that we often forget to observe. When we think about all this, it is impossible not to be moved, because the dog has no obligation to take care of us. He's not a doctor, he's not a therapist, but he loves it. And it is this deep, unconditional love that moves him to act when he feels that something is out of place. Perhaps this is the most precious gift of dogs: to feel beyond, to perceive the invisible, and to transform this feeling into care, in presence, in protection. And every time we hear these stories, the heart understands, even if the mind is still searching for answers, that there is something truly sacred about the way dogs see us. What we do know is that energy doesn't have to be visible to be real. And perhaps dogs have the ability to feel this energy more clearly than we do. They live in the now. They don't get lost in memories or distracted by future worries. They feel what is present. And this presence makes them capable of perceiving nuances that escape our hurried gaze. When you get home, your dog doesn't judge you for the day you had. He senses whether you're okay or not, and acts accordingly. Sometimes he just wants to lie next to him. Others jump and wag your tail to remind you of the joy that still lives inside you. His every gesture carries an intention: to be with you the way you are. And the most beautiful thing is that even absorbing our pain, they do not move away. They stay. Even if you're silent or crying or just too tired to play, they remain. And that's where the connection gets stronger. Because on good days, everyone stays. But on the hard days, only those who truly love choose to stay. And the dogs, these stay until the end. When we talk about energy, we are also talking about balance. And dogs have their own way of bringing this into the house. They remind us to breathe, to live in the moment, to smile for small things. They don't know that time passes, and that's why they live every second with intensity. And without realizing it, they teach us to do the same. A simple invitation to play, a curious look in front of a falling leaf, or a carefree nap in the sun. All of this is a silent reminder that life is happening right now. The balance that dogs promote is not only found in the routine, but also in the soul of the house. They sense when the energy is heavy and do their best to soften it, often just with their own presence. When we lie down next to them after a difficult day, we feel a kind of peace that cannot be explained, but recognized. A dog doesn't care what you've accomplished today or the mistakes you've made. He just wants to be with you. And in this simple gesture, there is a powerful teaching. Now is enough. You are enough. Many of us spend our entire lives chasing emotional balance, trying to find peace in the midst of chaos. And dogs, with their simplicity, show us that perhaps this balance is closer than we imagine. It's in a deep breath next to your best friend. It is in the unpretentious walk during a walk, without haste, without destination. It is in shared silence, where the heart speaks louder than words. They are masters at teaching us that harmony comes not from control, but from accepting the present moment, exactly as it is. And when we realize this, something changes inside. We begin to look at life with more tenderness, more attention, more presence. And all thanks to these faithful companions who balance our energy just by existing by our side. Maybe that's why so many people say that after a dog, you are never the same person again, because they transform us effortlessly, and deep down, they return us to our most beautiful essence. A dog that lives with an affectionate family, that receives love and affection, returns it in the form of lightness. He becomes a guardian of the home, not only against visible dangers, but against that which robs us of peace. Its presence is like a filter, like a protective field that makes the environment softer. And that's not magic. It's connection. Children who grow up with dogs develop more empathy, more emotional security, and more ability to connect with others. Dogs, with their simple way of loving, teach deep values. They teach about respect, care, and silent listening. They teach that sometimes you don't have to do anything, just be together. In times of grief, dogs also feel. There are reports of dogs that have been deeply saddened after the loss of a family member. They notice the absence, the change in the environment, the sadness of the people. And they offer what they do best, stay by their side, even when everything seems to fall apart. This delivery is something rare. It is something sacred. When we think that dogs can feel energies, we are acknowledging something that, deep down, we have always known. Anyone who has ever been comforted by a dog without saying a word understands. Anyone who has ever felt the warmth of a hairy body lying on their feet on a day of pain understands. It is as if they were living antennas, attuned to our heart. And this sensitivity, when respected, becomes a bridge between what we feel and what we forget to hear, between what we need and what we can't ask for. Dogs cross this bridge without fear, and in doing so, they bring us back to ourselves, back to what really matters. Science continues to investigate and will probably continue for a long time. But those who live this connection on a daily basis do not need proof. Because he feels, because you see, because it lives, because a dog is much more than an animal. It is a daily reminder that true love does not charge, does not demand, and does not need to be explained. And now that you've come this far, I want to make you an invitation full of affection and sincerity. Tell me in the comments, what is the name of your four-legged companion? How did he come into your life? What special moments have you lived together? Your story can touch the heart of someone who also loves animals, and who knows, bring comfort to those in need. If you feel that the love of dogs is something really special, right here. I love dogs. It may seem simple, but it is a beautiful way to spread together this energy of affection, faith, and gratitude for these furry little angels who brighten our days, even in the most difficult moments. And if this message spoke to you, if it brought peace, shelter, or even a smile in the middle of the day's rush, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and share this video with someone who loves animals as much as you do. Or with someone who is in need of a word of hope today. Because when we share love, it only grows. And with our dogs by our side, everything is lighter, more beautiful, more full of life.